But we're going to start with Erin and the Bin 311 Delicious Chardonnay.
We are. And Ken, I'm really pleased that you said that you thought the 311 was special, because on my page it was one of the greatest 311s that's been released so far. So when I opened it, I just took it straight out of the fridge and poured it. I didn't decant it or let it come to temperature or anything. And I think that it suffered for that, because on day 2, it had just come together in this svelte kind of polished package. It was spicy. There was really lovely stone fruit. I was a 95 on that Chardonnay, and I just think that's a really big call, but I'm really comfortable with it. And I looked at it over a couple of days. Traditionally, the Chardonnays from this Penfolds release are the highlights of the release for me. And so to start with the 311, I knew that we were onto something pretty special for the bigger wines. I was interested to see that the 311 was posited as the baby Yatana. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
Is that a new comparison?
Yeah, I think they sort of tried the 389 was the baby grain, so they thought they'd have a baby Yatana.
Right, that was my leading question. I thought that there was a real polish and a finesse to this vintage that I haven't seen in previous years. And so even though it was a warmer vintage and riper and all those things, it just had this like minerality and line that I loved it.
I agree. I thought it was way better than any other 311s that have ever been put out before. Any dissenting opinions?
No, Angus, I've never particularly liked 311, and maybe that's because you see 311 along with Reserve Bin A and the Yatana, and those two are always so far ahead of it that it makes it look pretty ordinary. And maybe if you looked at it by itself, it'd appear a bit better. But this time, I thought it just the best one I've seen by a long shot. But apparently they talk about, I can't remember the 05, but that was the first one, and they talk about it as being a pretty special one as well.
But the fruit sourcing, I think, is because traditionally there was a lot of Tumbarumba in there, and now I think Tumbarumba was number 3. So it was Tassie, Adelaide Hills, Tumbarumba. I've never been a massive fan of Tumbarumba Chardonnay myself, to be honest. And I just think that Tassie fruit just had this, so it was almost Chablis-like, I thought, in some ways. Like it really had this purity and this focus and this, and I loved how, compared to the next one particularly, it was so reserved. It was so embryonic and youthful. Jenny, what about you?
Well, remember though, there is a different price point with this wine. It's $50. The others are considerably more expensive. Yes. I enjoyed it. I did see kind of similarities with the citrus was there, but there were similarities, I thought, with Riesling, which is your Chablis, I think. Beautiful aromatics coming through on that wine.
Yeah.
And just
Can I ask, you say, the different price point, which is correct, and this year at $50, it looks like good buying to me. Have you ever thought it was worth $50 in the past? Because I always thought it was way overpriced.
No.
I'm not even 100% sure that it is $50 worth now, to tell you the truth. I don't know whether I would pay that amount. It is a lovely wine. I could see more.
You're a wine writer. You don't pay for wine.
Than others. I do care.
As the West Australian person here, can I mention that I am awash in a sea of West Australian Chardonnay most days of the week, which I think is a great honour. I love Margaret River Chardonnay. And so for me to say to you that I think in the best years the Reserve Bin A Chardonnay numbers amongst Australia's very best is a really big deal. And I think that this has it is not Reserve Bin A or Yatana, but it has the hallmarks of that polish and that pristine sort of quality that make the very best Reserve Bins some of the greatest in the country. So
yeah, I know, I agree. Any other thoughts, Tones?
I agree with Erin in terms of its polish and its and there was a sort of glossiness to it. My notes immediately, this has elevated 311 into a sort of more top shelf kind of position than I've ever seen it before. I thought it was looking really great, and I was quite impressed by the whole package of that. I just thought there was a really lovely kind of zing, and the flavours were kind of twisting and turning as you were tasting it. I just thought it was a really serene, sort of smart wine, and it was a really lovely. In context, 3 Chardonnays in the group of Penfolds Chardonnays, and that was the first of the 3 in terms of value, etc. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah,